Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Sego ani buju wachaya kwe kwe. As the mayor of the city of Kingston, I offer these words in the spirit of this gathering. Let us bring our good minds and hearts together as one to honor and celebrate these traditional lands as a gathering place of the original peoples and their ancestors who were entrusted to care for Mother Earth since time immemorial. It is with deep humility that we acknowledge and offer our gratitude for their contributions to this community, having respect for all as we share this space now and walk side by side into the future. And you will have noticed that I did bring our Aboriginal walking stick in with me today. June is Aboriginal Peoples Month, and so to commemorate that, we will be displaying the talking stick at our June 7th and our June 21st council meeting as well. This was, of course, a gift from our Aboriginal community. It's displayed in my office, and it will be here for our council meetings. So with that, we were just in Committee of the Whole closed meeting. We did discuss 3 items, an OMB appeal for 218 Green Bay Road, acquisition or disposition of land Miles Square, and then also an item regarding the Marine Museum of the Great Lakes. So I will ask for a motion to move or to rise from Committee of the Whole closed meeting without reporting.
Moved by Councillor Holland, seconded by Councillor George, that Council rise from the Committee of the Whole closed meeting without reporting.
Please vote. And that carries. Next, we have a approval of the addeds. We actually have 2 sets of addeds. The first is an additional item on our for report number 60. Then we have a couple of additional reports and some miscellaneous business. And then our additional addeds, we have a couple of other motions. So with that, I will ask for an approval of those sets of addeds, please. If I can have a mover, please. Moved by Councillor Holland, seconded by Councillor Turner. All those in favor, please vote. And that carries. Are there any disclosures of potential pecuniary interest? Deputy Mayor Allen.
Thank you. I'd like to declare potential pecuniary interest in the matter of Report 62, Clause 1, as I am currently engaged with negotiations with the proponent on an unrelated matter.
Okay, thank you. Are there any other disclosures to declare? Okay, seeing none, we have no presentations this evening. We have no delegations. We have no briefings. Petitions, we do have a petition. A petition bearing approximately 70 signatures was emailed to the Planning Committee and received in the Clerk's Department on May 25th, 2016, and reads as follows. We, the undersigned, object to the property at 965 Milford Drive, zoning from C22-22, bylaw 76-26, to type R4-X, and the various changes needed to accommodate Don House as an unsuitable addition directly upon the surrounding established community. Further, the City of Kingston Housing Department concluded Don House should phase its operation out of existence. It should be noted that this organization is unsure of its funding to run such an operation they are proposing. And that's been referred to Council and the Commissioner of Community Services. Are there any other petitions to present? Okay, seeing none. We do have a couple of other motions. First of all, a motion of congratulations, moved by Mayor Patterson, seconded by Councillor Turner, that the congratulations of Kingston City Council be extended to Councillor Richard Allen on his election to the Federation of Canadian Municipalities, FCM Board of Directors, Ontario Caucus. Councillor Allen was elected during the FCM Annual General Meeting held in Winnipeg from June 3rd to 5th and will represent Kingston, neighboring municipalities, and Eastern Ontario for a 1-year term. Congratulations, Councillor Allen. At this time, I will turn it over to the Deputy Mayor and ask that he would read the second motion and then call the vote, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. We have one motion of condolence, moved by Councillor Bohm, seconded by Councillor Neal, that the condolences of Kingston City Council be extended to Mayor Brian Patterson on the passing of his father, James Patterson, on June 3rd, 2016. James was a beloved father, grandfather, and husband who was active in his community of Newmarket and will be greatly missed by all who knew and loved him. our thoughts are with the mayor, with Mayor Patterson and his family during this difficult time. And we're going to call the vote. And that carries, and I'm going to return the chair to Mayor Patterson.
Thank you very much. We do have one deferred motion. It's moved by Deputy Mayor Allen, seconded by Councillor McLaren, that council waive the rental fees of $875.50 for use of the Grand Theatre, Regina Rosen Auditorium on Thursday, September 15th, 2016 for the Refugee Sponsorship Fundraiser Show, with proceeds to St. Paul the Apostle Church Sanctuary Refugee Sponsorship Project, and that this be funded from the Working Fund Reserve. Deputy Mayor Allen.
Thank you. I'm going to ask the pleasure of council to consider withdrawal of this motion. I haven't had a chance to speak with my seconder on this, so we haven't moved that far along. But we do now have the policy set in place that we were deferred for. Unfortunately, this piece doesn't fit within that policy because it's a fundraiser which will charge dollars to anybody who comes. And so that was a key part of the policy giving people access to our rooms. We had to draw a line somewhere, and this was a pretty well-researched policy and consideration that came forward, and we all approved and considered knowing that this was on the table at our last council meeting. And so I think I cannot in good conscience bring it forward, and I'd like to ask that we remove it from the agenda and consider some other way of supporting this organization when they host their fundraiser.
Thank you. So we will, with the consent of council, we will withdraw the motion. Before I do that, can I just ask staff, is this organization aware of the new policy and how they can apply for that waiver of funds?
So, Mr. Mayor, I'm not sure if the organization itself is aware, but we will definitely connect with the organization. One of the ways that the policy enables fundraisers is if we have a partnership where they can also make a contribution back to a city program. So that's something that we would be open to talk to them about and see if they would be interested and willing to do that.
Okay, thank you.
Just a quick point of order. If I could have some clarification, it's my understanding, and perhaps the clerk can speak to this, when a motion is duly moved and seconded and on the agenda, it's the property of the House and therefore requires a motion of withdrawal to be passed by council. Isn't that the situation? I always thought that was the rules of order.
To your worship, that technically is in accordance with our procedural bylaw. It's been our practice here at the city that if the mover and the seconder are content with withdrawal, with the consent of council, we withdraw the motion. So either option has been working with this council.
So my preference would be to allow the withdrawal simply with the consent of council, if that's agreed. Thank you. Okay, so moving on to report number 60 from the CAO.
Moved by Councillor Holland, seconded by Councillor Stroud, that report number 60 of the Chief Administrative Officer consent be received and adopted.
So there are a number of items listed A through K. Would anyone like any items separated? Councillor Stroud.
E, please, Your Worship. E.
E. Deputy Mayor Allen.
C, please, and I and K.
Okay, seeing no other separations, we will vote on the balance of the items first. So we have item A, parking bylaw minor amendments. B, appointment of municipal bylaw enforcement officers, Frontenac Place, 780 Division Street. D, Kingston Penitentiary and Portsmouth Olympic Harbor Visioning Exercise, appointment of Community Working Group. F, award of contract, Confederation Basin Marina washroom renovation. G, award of contract 2016 stump grinding for Emerald Ash Borer. H, appointment of deputy city clerk, alternate acting city clerk, and housekeeping amendments. And J, permanently close a portion of York Street, formerly Old Road, at 181 Pine Street. So we will call the vote. And that carries. Item C, Rideau Crest Home Interior Painting. Deputy Mayor Allen.
Thank you, Your Worship, and through you in the talking stick, I just have one question for staff about this. Why was this an RFP versus a tender? I just don't quite understand why a job like this would require an RFP. So a little more detail about that would be appreciated. And that's actually my question for Kay, too, in advance.
Thank you. Commissioner Leger?
Your Worship, this went through RFP because of the consideration for the accreditation and the long-term care facility that we have. We didn't feel with some of the value added and some of the issues we had to deal with the accreditation that a tender would suffice in this case.
I guess I was gonna, just a follow-up question, if you will, through you in the talking stick. Have we had experience in other cases that has led us down this path in terms of we've had to paint and we've done it by tender and they didn't quite meet the standards that we've got laid out, or is this sort of a moving forward choice?
Through your worship, not to my knowledge, I don't have experience. It's not addressed in the report whether or not we had unfavorable experience with the tender process at Rideau Crest. I don't know if the commissioner in charge of Rideau Crest can answer or add to that answer.
Commissioner Hurdle?
Thank you, and through you, to add to Commissioner Leger. So there are a couple of things that are noted in the report, and one of them is the wall protector. So this is something that we looked into and discussed, and we wanted to see as well what would come back in terms of the proposals, whether or not we were going to include wall protectors or not. That's something that we weren't quite sure to start with. So when you do, obviously, a tender, you have to have everything detailed out at the very beginning. The other piece to that, and Commissioner Leger mentioned that we are going through an accreditation process, which is quite extensive, and through the Ministry of Health Long-Term Care, when we do any kind of renovations at Rideau Crest, we need to provide a certain period of time in terms of notification, and it's quite complex in terms of working with the residents. It's not like we would have in most of our buildings, so you do need somebody who can demonstrate that they have the ability to meet those requirements as well in terms of the Long-Term Care Act.
Thank you. Just as a quick follow-up, I do sit on the Board of Management for Rideau Crest at Home, and I'm aware of the unique factors and considerations when we're looking at that. It's just I see a sort of trend towards RFPs, and so I'm just trying to educate myself as to where our decisions are coming from when it comes that way, and that's essentially why I separated these two. They weren't the only RFPs in here, but these were the two that caught my eye. And I just want to, at some point, perhaps council can get a bit of a briefing or even just some information sent to us about what the logical format is that staff takes when they decide to go down the RFP route versus a tender route. I realize that each situation is unique, but there's got to be some guiding principles that help identify that, and it just will help us understand the path that you're going down so that we can support you in your decisions.
CAO Hunt?
Through you, Mr. Mayor, we'll take that under advisement. We will be back with a report probably within about, I would say, 3 months to update that. And we are in the process right now of looking at some of our processes in order to clarify them. That not only gives the public confidence, but it gives staff confidence in terms of making that decision and determination at the appropriate time.
Okay, so with that, we will call the vote on item C. So if everyone can vote again, please. And that carries. Item E, request for noise exemptions, Queen's University Orientation Week events. Councillor Stroud.
Thank you, Your Worship. A question to staff. I see in the report it says we granted exemptions similar to these in 2015. My recollection is that there was 2 nights that we had granted last year in 2015. Is that correct? Do you have that information?
Commissioner Hurdle.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, I don't have the exact number of nights, but I do recall that there was definitely more than one night, and we did not have any complaints come in through those exemptions.
Yes. So yes, and that was one of my points I was going to make. I also have not received any correspondence or complaints regarding last year's Frosh Week events that we granted the exemptions for, but it did seem to me that last year they asked for 2 nights and this year it's 4, so I guess we'll find out this year if we grant them, if having a whole week every night until 11 is going to generate complaints. Last year I made this other point, which was the location of these events right in the center of main campus. The only people that are really within earshot of those events is the hospital and the people living in the residences on campus, or possibly a few people on Berry Street, the ones that are right near main campus, and then across the park, anyone in Sydenham Ward there, like myself. So I don't think that very many residents are actually impacted by these events to begin with, other than the ones living in residence. So as I said last year, I'm happy to support these exemptions as long as I don't hear objections to the contrary after the fact. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Neal.
Yes, I too have no difficulty supporting this. I'm in the next district over, and I haven't had any complaints either. My only comment, and I don't know if there's any Queens AMS people here, after some issues came forward in the past, the AMS Orientation Week organizers have been very, very good meeting with the neighborhood associations and setting up a meeting with the area councilors. That didn't happen for me this year. I don't know if it didn't happen this year, and they are asking for kind of some expanded privilege this year. So I would strongly recommend that they follow their previous very sensible practice of meeting with the community associations and meeting with the district councilors prior to this arriving on our desk. But I will be supporting it.
Thank you, and I think that your suggestion has been noted. Councillor Turner.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and through you, I respect the district councilor's issue, and I'd just like to say that I think Queens is being a good neighbor, and I think having an organized event during Frosh Week is a really good idea, and having their own security and an event to give the students a place to go and something to do during that week instead of them congregating in various other areas is a great idea, and I commend them on what they're planning to do. So I truly support it, so thank you.
Okay, so we will call the vote on item E. And that carries. Next, we have item I, land exchange agreement with Weston Bakeries Limited and Weston Foods Canada Incorporated. Deputy Mayor Allen.
Thank you, Your Worship. And through you in the talking stick, I have a question for staff, and it's more about when this is coming forward. We're just about to embark under a visioning process in anticipation of a secondary plan for this area. And so I'm wondering if making choices at this point about a parcel of that land makes sense or will impact the process with our visioning statement. And so I'm wondering if it's time sensitive at all, and B, if it wouldn't be prudent to wait until we've moved forward somewhat in the visioning process before we approve this.
Commissioner Hurdle.
Through you, Mr. Mayor. So first of all, to the first question, no, it will not impact the visioning exercise. The visioning exercise, obviously, for the North Kingstown is much broader than a few small parcels of land that we're currently considering or that is in front of council. In terms of being time sensitive, it is if council would like to have the KNP trail built for July 2017. We do need that land to complete the KNP trail. We have started the construction work for on-street. We are about to award the work for the off-street portion, so if we don't have that land, we definitely cannot complete the KNP trail.
Councillor Neal.
And just very quickly, it was thoroughly discussed and debated through EITP, and although it didn't have a total consensus of the community, in Kingston that seldom happens, it was considered necessary for the completion of a viable trail in the desired time frame. So I'll be supporting this.
Thank you. We will call the vote. Please vote. CAO Hunt.
Mr. Mayor, I just want to advise council that staff will be reviewing the ownership and the protocols around some of that land that was dedicated years ago to make sure that there's clearance on it so that we can move it forward expeditiously. If there is any issues with that, we would be back to council quickly to clarify those things.
Okay, thank you. Please vote. And that carries. Item K, award of contract, Kingston Transit Transfer Point, Cataraqui Center. Deputy Mayor Allen.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and through you in the talking stick, I'm sorry for all of the items, but there are a lot of items on the consent report. So I've asked my other RFP question before, but in terms of this case, we just got one response. And so I'm wondering, again, we've had this challenge with RFPs in the past, and you've gone through a few yourself, and so is our approach with RFPs limiting our ability to get a cost-effective approach to the work that we need to get done?
Commissioner Leger.
Through your worship, in this case, I don't think that's the case, so I can't really comment on whether it's limiting or not in terms of our approach with RFPs. As indicated in the report, this one had two complications with it. The complexity of labor considerations in terms of utilizing three specific unions probably had some impact in terms of the number of proposals we received, even though 29 were downloaded and people looked at it. Those considerations and maybe considerations of these labor considerations probably had some issue in terms of the submissions. Secondly, in terms of using RFP, in terms of this one, after extensive discussions with legal staff, it was felt that the time sensitivity of this construction warranted an RFP because it would be easier to negotiate the conditions and supplementary conditions of the contract and get this contract executed as soon as possible to meet these timelines.
Thank you.
Okay, so we will call the vote on item K. And that carries. Report number 61 from the CAO.
Moved by Councillor Shell, seconded by Councillor Candon, that report number 61 from the Chief Administrative Officer recommend be received and adopted.
So there is just the one item, capital project status report, first quarter 2016. We'll call the vote. And that carries. Report number 62 from Planning Committee.
Thank you, Mayor Patterson. It's my pleasure to present report number 62 from the Planning Committee and ask that it be received and adopted. Thank you.
Moved by Councillor Shell, seconded by Councillor Neal, that report number 62 from the Planning Committee be received and adopted.
There's just the one clause, approval of an application for official plan amendment and zoning bylaw amendment, 23 Soccer Lane. We'll call the vote. And that carries. Report number 63 from the Administrative Policies Committee.
Thank you, Mayor Patterson. It gives me pleasure to produce report number 63 from the Administrative Policies Committee, duly moved and seconded. Thank you.
Moved by Councillor Bohm, seconded by Councillor Holland, that report number 63 from the Administrative Policies Committee be received and adopted.
So in just one item, the 2015 audited financial statements. We'll call the vote. And that carries. Report number 64 from the Rural Advisory Committee.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. It gives me pleasure to bring you report number 64 from the Rural Advisory Committee, moved by Councillor Allen and seconded by Councillor Bone. We ask that it be received and adopted.
Moved by Councillor Allen, seconded by Councillor Bohm, that report number 64 from the Rural Advisory Committee be received and adopted.
So just the one item, 2015 Rural Advisory Committee report card. We will call the vote. And that carries. Report number 65 from the Pine Grove Cemetery Committee.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Through you and the talking stick, I never thought I'd be sitting on this board. I was told it never met. I'm on enough as it is. So moved by Councillor Allen and seconded by Councillor Bohm, I ask that report number 65 from the Pine Grove Cemetery Committee be received and adopted.
Moved by Councillor Allen, seconded by Councillor Bohm, that report number 65 from the Pine Grove Cemetery Board be received and adopted.
There's just the one item A, consideration of tree planting request at Pine Grove Cemetery. Councillor Hutchison?
Just a question to the singular councillor that attended the one meeting. I'm just curious what the dispute was.
Thank you. Through your worship, the there was a request to plant a tree beside a plot, which would then, the roots would grow into other plots, which then would affect property that wasn't theirs, as well as maintenance of the place. It's quite a small cemetery. So that's why we've added the second clause, to see if we could find some sort of middle ground to support the memorial that this person was asking to make for their loved one.
Thank you.
Councillor Stroud?
Yes, Councillor Allen, could you tell, is it a pine tree they're planning to plant?
Actually, the tree was not a native species that they were asking to plant, so it would not add to the pine grove.
Are there any other questions? Seeing none, we will call the vote. And that carries. Report number 66 from Heritage Kingston.
Thank you, Your Worship. I rise to present report number 66 from Heritage Kingston, moved and seconded, and ask that its one item be adopted by council.
Moved by Councillor Stroud, seconded by Councillor Shell, that report number 66 from Heritage Kingston be received and adopted.
So it's just the one item, appointment to the North Kingstown Secondary Plan Working Group, community agencies, that the following community agency appointment to the North Kingstown Secondary Plan Working Group for a term to expire November 30th, 2018 be confirmed without comment, and that's Paul Carl from Heritage Kingston. So we will call the vote. And that carries. Report number 67 from the Nominations Advisory Committee.
Thank you, Your Worship. It's my pleasure to present report number 67 of the Nominations Advisory Committee for consideration by council.
Moved by Councillor Hutchison, seconded by Councillor George, that report number 67 from the Nominations Advisory Committee be received and adopted.
So the one item is appointments to the North Kingstown Secondary Plan Working Group community members, that the following appointments be made to the North Kingstown Secondary Plan Working Group for a term to expire November 30th, 2018. Mary Farrar, Hugh Lloyd Ellis, Anne Lahid, Taoufik Munib, Greg Tilson, Susan Bellier. So I'll read number 2 unless anyone wants them separated. Item number 2, appointments to the North Kingstown Secondary Plan Working Group community agencies, that the following be confirmed for a term to expire November 30th, 2018. Christine Woods, Cataraqui Region Conservation Authority, Laurel Claus Johnson, First Nations, Richard Dobing, Greater Kingston Chamber of Commerce, Tom Carpenter, Kingston Environmental Advisory Forum, Carrie Bidness, Kingston Economic Development Corporation, Lisa Monday, Kingston, Frontenac, Lennox, and Addington Public Health, and Anne-Marie Blaney-Clark, Municipal Accessibility Advisory Committee. So we will call the vote on items 1 and 2. And that carries. So nothing from Committee of the Whole this evening. We have no information reports. There are no information reports from members of council. We do have some miscellaneous business with a number of motions. Number 1, that is requested by Kingston Partners for a Safe Community. Council proclaimed June 6th to 12th, 2016 as Stop Distracted Driving Week in the City of Kingston. Moved by Councillor Neal, seconded by Deputy Mayor Allen. Please vote. And that carries. Number 2, that the resignation of Mr. Mark Potvin from the Kingston Environmental Advisory Forum, KEEF, be received with regret. Can I have a mover, please? Moved by Councillor Shell, seconded by Councillor Stroud. Please vote. Number 3, that the resignation of Mr. Samir Asim from the Bell Park Working Group be received with regret. Can I have a mover, please? Moved by Councillor Neal, seconded by Councillor Turner. Please vote. Thank you. And then for item number 4, we need 2 councillors to be appointed to the North Kingstown Secondary Plan Working Group. So Councillor Holland, Councillor Hutchison, is there anybody else that would like to put their name forward? Okay, so with that, can I then have a mover to move that Councillor Holland and Councillor Hutchison be appointed, moved by Councillor Neal, seconded by Councillor Schell. Please vote. And that carries. Okay, on to new motions. So for the first motion, I will turn it over to the Deputy Mayor.
Pardon me. So new motion number 1, moved by Mayor Patterson, seconded by Councillor Bohm. Whereas the Association of Municipalities of Ontario, AMO, is seeking nominations to their Board of Directors 2016 to 2018, and nominations must be received by June 24th, 2016. And whereas nominations to the AMO Board must be supported by a council motion which indicates their financial support of that council, and whereas the City of Kingston has benefited from having local representation on this important Ontario Municipal Board, and whereas Councillor George has represented the City of Kingston on the AMO Board as a member of the Large Urban Caucus since August 2015, therefore, be it resolved that the Council of the City of Kingston nominates Councillor George for re-election to the Board of the Association of Municipalities of Ontario as a member of the Large Urban Caucus, and that the City agrees to cover travel expenses related to attending meetings. Mayor Patterson?
Thank you. I think it's very clear that as council, we benefit greatly having a representative not only at FCM, and of course we earlier were able to congratulate Councillor Allen on being elected to that board of directors, but also very important that we have representation at the AMO board as well. So I'm very pleased that Councillor George has agreed to seek re-election, and so I certainly hope that as a council we can support that effort, and certainly wish him well in his upcoming campaign this summer. Thank you.
Councillor Hutchison?
I just wanted to thank Councillor George for his work. I've talked to him a few times about different issues, and I think he's doing a good job. And over the years, I've found that we're pretty lucky to find somebody who has the time and the willingness and the effort to do the job. So, thank you.
Would anyone else like to speak to the motion? If not, we'll call the vote. And that carries. And speaking of carrying, Councillor George will need help at the AMO conference as part of his campaign, so think about attending. Pass it back to the chair.
Thank you. New motion number 2, moved by Councillor Bohm, seconded by Mayor Patterson. Whereas the province of Ontario has implemented a ban on door-to-door sales for electricity and natural gas contracts by passing the Strengthening Consumer Protection and Electricity System Oversight Act 2015, and whereas residents of the City of Kingston and Ontarians in general have continued to experience unsolicited, aggressive, and misleading tactics at their door from companies seeking to sell home energy products and services despite enhanced consumer protection legislation. Whereas Member of Provincial Parliament for Etobicoke Centre, Yvonne Baker, has introduced a private member's bill 193, Door-to-Door Sales Prohibition Act 2016, to ban door-to-door sales of air conditioners, water heaters, furnaces, water treatment devices, and other prescribed products to protect Ontarians from aggressive sales tax at the door of a resident. Therefore, be it resolved that City Council urge the provincial government to pass the private member's bill to ban door-to-door sales on air conditioners, water heaters, furnaces, water treatment devices, and other prescribed products by providing a letter to local MPP Sophie Koala in support of the bill, and that City Council encourage residents from the City of Kingston to also communicate with our local MPP in support of Bill 193, Door-to-Door Sales Prohibition Act 2016. Councillor Bone.
Thank you, Your Worship, and through you. So based on this, it's quite self-explanatory. So I know that many other councillors have had this issue as well. Lately, it's been the water people showing up at the door, and you get numerous calls over it. People are confused. They don't really know what's going on. Why is this person being so aggressive trying to get in? So with the private members bill coming up, the rationale for this was essentially to show our support for that, because as a city, this is about to the length that we can go is essentially to pass a motion to say, yes, we are in support of that. Please do whatever you can in Toronto to get something like this through. So with that, I hope that everybody is in support of it, and thank you.
Thank you. Deputy Mayor Allen.
Thank you, Your Worship. Through you and the talking stick, I'm aware that several other municipalities have already voiced their support for this, including Mississauga. It says something that's not just affecting our town, but our province and probably our country and further along. And so we need to do what we can to help protect residents from predatory practices. And so I'm in support of this.
Thank you. Councillor Hutchison.
Thank you, Your Worship. I want to say I welcome this motion, and I have one question of legal staff, which Councillor Bohm directed me. I asked him, so then he directed me to staff. And that is whether this particular motion covers electricity marketers. And it talks about a ban being implemented, and it's unclear what the legal status of that ban is at this time.
Ms. Nicholson, do you have an answer for that?
Through you, Mr. Mayor, I am aware that there is an electricity act that was amended and adding some of the bans regarding electrical sales. It had to do with certain contracts that consumers being asked to sign up for long-term periods. So legislation was introduced in that. I can't exactly recall the name of that act, but those enhancements were put in at least 2 to 3 years ago. This particular bill does not speak to the electricity per se, but really specifically on these kinds of appliances and units.
Okay, I was aware of the one 2 or 3 years ago was limited it. I'd certainly support a motion that bans door-to-door electricity marketers. It's a nightmare, and I deal with it all the time. So, but if this is a start, I'm more than happy to support it. Thank you.
Thank you. So with that, we will call the vote. And that carries. Are there any notices of motion? Seeing none, Mr. Clerk will ask for minutes.
Moved by Councillor McLaren, seconded by Councillor Schell, that the minutes of City Council meeting number 2016-15 held Tuesday, May 17th, 2016 be confirmed.
Please vote. And that carries. We have some tabling of documents, a number of communications. Is there any other business? Seeing none, Mr. Clerk will ask for bylaws.
Moved by Councillor Candon, seconded by Councillor Stroud, that bylaws 1 through 5 and 8 and 12 be given their first and second reading.
Please vote. That carries.
Moved by Counselor Candon, seconded by Counselor Stroud, that Clause 11.34 of Bylaw Number 2010-1 be suspended for the purpose of giving Bylaws 4 and 5 three readings.
Please vote. That carries.
Moved by Counselor Candon, seconded by Counselor Stroud, that Bylaws 4 and 5 and 8 through 12 be given their third reading.
Please vote. That carries. Motion to adjourn. Oh, hold on. Sorry. A couple more to go.
Moved by Counselor Candon, seconded by Counselor Stroud, that Bylaws 6 and 7 be given their first and second reading.
Please vote.
Moved by Counselor Candon, seconded by Counselor Stroud, that Bylaws 6 and 7 be given their third reading.
Please vote. That carries. Motion to adjourn. Moved by Counselor George, seconded by Counselor Bohm. Please vote. We are adjourned. Thank you very much.